I think the biggest problem in self-help personal development community is the fact that people do not lack knowledge, people lack implementation. And if you are watching my videos, you are most likely to consume a lot of personal development content, and that is essentially something good. That is definitely not something bad. However, consuming personal development content without any implementation is just worthless. And even when we are motivated to take action, and even when we are motivated to make something happen, our genuine trials do not really last that long. It's like we start to make progress in our lives, we get things done, we achieve small goals, we make progress on our big goals, but then a few days later, after a few days of being productive, something happens. That something is completely different for everyone in this world, but something happens and we just become someone lazy for a few days. We just become someone who thinks that doing something productive is just incredibly hard. So we have a cycle of being genuinely productive for a few days and then not really being on top for a few days, not really getting things done. And when we feel bad because of the fact that we are not getting things done, we start to watch personal development again. It's like we are watching personal development videos about how to be more productive instead of actually being productive. And we watch, for example, videos about motivation, discipline, confidence, and all of those actually good things without doing the actual work, without becoming the person that we want to become. So the problem here is generally we just consume, we do not implement. And even if when we actually try to implement those things in our lives, our trials do not really last that long. For a few days we are good, then a few days we're just not on top, we're just not getting things done. Does this resonate with you? But let me ask you a question, how long does it last? Not that long. After that, we are back to essentially being in our cycle, and the cycle goes on and on. We just cannot do anything to break that cycle. It's like for a few days we are productive and for a few days we're just not, and it always goes like that. It's incredibly hard to make something happen in our lives that is going to be actually consistent for weeks, for months, and for years down the line. It's like we're just on a treadmill where we are really running, but we don't really go somewhere. We're at the exact place that we have been for years, but still we're actually running. When you look back at last year, you are probably at the exact place that you have been for a long time. You are probably still in your comfort zone, even if you know that being in your comfort zone is not something that you should do. You should get out of your comfort zone. This is something that everybody knows, but it's not really the common practice. So what happens, you still have the exact habits, you still have the exact work ethic, and you are definitely not at all at the place where you thought you would be the next year. And my question is, does this situation resonate with you, even if it's just a little bit? Well, for me personally, this was my personal situation for a long time, for years, and I know for a fact that probably more than 95% of the people who are consuming personal development, self-improvement, productivity content on regular, they are also in this exact situation. It seems incredibly hard to make changes that are going to last in your life for a very long time. We know the fact that being disciplined is something important, but we just cannot be disciplined for a long period of time. We may be disciplined for 10 days, and then it just comes back to that cycle again. We are continuing to be very unproductive for a few more days. And even though we really try hard to get out of that comfort zone and become the best version of ourselves, even though I know it sounds cringy, it's true, but it's incredibly hard to get out of that cycle. Well, is there a strategy or a trick that helps? Probably not. Our mindset has to change here. And I know for a fact that making that change is incredibly hard because I knew that I went through that change. So in this video, I'm going to tell you my story of how I basically became someone who is genuinely making progress in his life from someone who is just consuming personal development content for 4 or 5 hours a day and not really making anything happen, not really implementing anything in my life. And I'm going to tell you as well as some strategies, 3 strategies that really helped me essentially make this change happen. And I really hope that this personal development video would be the last personal development video that you watch just for the sake of watching personal development videos. I hope you take action from what you're gonna learn from this video. But the first thing that I have to mention is basically I'm not like a YouTuber who has millions of views, millions of subscribers, who is trying to essentially sell you a product or a service. And so I'm not really going to hide an information and expect you to buy a program of mine to tell you that information. This is actually my story of how I became someone who is really disciplined from being someone who's just consuming personal development content and not doing anything in his life. So this is really my story, and I do think that these strategies are really going to help you if you implement them. Well, this story begins 16th March 2020, the first day when Turkey's Ministry of National Education kind of told us that we would have a 1-week break from school for holiday due to COVID-19. And that 1 week kind of turned into a month, and 2 months, 6 months, and a year, and we basically know the whole story. But after that week, we started taking online lessons. But me knowing that we wouldn't be taking any tests for our school notes and that kind of stuff, I wasn't really motivated for the online lessons like the rest of the world. So I didn't really have a reason to study. So what did I do? I basically watched a lot of YouTube videos about personal development, of course. I watched a lot of Netflix, I worked out, I kind of practiced personal development, but I wasn't really productive at all. And around that time, I started thinking about making YouTube videos. I started thinking about creating this channel, and I told myself, well, I enjoy personal development. It's something that I'm definitely passionate about, because I spend 3, 4, 5 hours a day watching YouTube videos about generally personal development, so why not give this a try? Because I had the whole time in the world to do this. And then I started this channel, I started making these videos, and I made a couple of videos that really sucked a lot, and that was exactly the time where the shift actually happened. Beforehand, I did not really have a reason to be productive, like I didn't really do anything at all. And then after creating this channel, I saw that, well, I really enjoyed the process of making videos. I really enjoyed filming them, editing them, writing the scripts, and I kind of realized that I can actually make this happen. Like, if I work hard enough, I can make this my full-time job, and maybe in the future I could turn this hobby of mine to a full-time job. And this was the concrete goal that I wanted to hit. So I was really motivated after I started this YouTube channel, because I had a goal that I wanted to hit. I had a target that I wanted to hit. Beforehand, I really did not have any reason to be productive at all, because it was quarantine, like nothing was happening. I was just watching YouTube and Netflix. So that didn't really happen. And essentially this was finding my why was the most powerful thing that I had to do in order to become someone disciplined. And after I essentially found my why, find my reason to be productive, I wasn't at all, like I was always doing something. I was always working on something. I was always trying to improve something. And then that was exactly the shift where the shift actually happened. The first mindset shift that you have to go through is basically you have to have a concrete target that you want to hit. This is basically personal development 101. You have to know whatever it is that you want to hit. At the same time, you have to know your why on why you actually want to do that thing, why you essentially want to achieve that goal. This may be getting into your dream college, or getting a promotion at your job, or turning your hobby into a full-time job, or whatever that is. You have to have a concrete target that you want to hit, and then you have to essentially write down your goal and your why on why you actually want to achieve that goal. And the second thing that you have to do is basically set yourself a deadline and realize that your life is not as long as you think, and your time and your life is basically incredibly valuable, and it just doesn't make any sense for you to just watch YouTube and Netflix and not do anything about it. If you don't have any pressure about your goals, then you're not gonna be taking action for any of them. Realize that you're not gonna get another shot on Earth. I don't know what you believe in, but I personally don't think that I'm gonna be getting another shot on Earth. So I better make this count. So I better essentially make my dreams come true, even though that sounds kind of cringy, but it is true. This is the only chance that I have to become the best version of myself. This is the only chance that I have to essentially make something happen, to essentially make my dreams come true. And please ask yourself about your goal. Do you really want to hit that target? Do you essentially really want to do that? And if the answer is yes, then there is no other option than doing essentially and making that happen. And these were two basic mindset shifts that I had to go through to become someone who is disciplined, who is making progress. And the third thing that is going to help you to do that is basically accountability. And accountability is something weird and incredibly powerful if you do it right. So a couple of weeks ago, I made a video about an accountability system, a productivity system that I kind of developed with my accountability partner, and that is something that you can use. And the video for that is going to be linked in the description down below and also in the YouTube cards. I highly recommend for you to go watch that video. That video basically explains a system that I built with my accountability partner from A to Z that you can use to make progress in every area of your life. And after using that accountability system, I have never had a day or a 2-day period where I was like, no, I'm not productive at all. I sometimes had like a few hours where I was like, no, I don't want to do anything. But after that, I came back to that motivated and disciplined state where I was trying to make some progress on my goals. So if you are someone who lacks that accountability partner or who lacks that, motivation to achieve your goals, go check that video out. I highly, highly recommend that. Accountability, having a concrete target, and having a deadline for my goals were basically the three things that I had to do to become someone disciplined. I know they are very basic, but sometimes the basic things are the things that you have to do to essentially make a change in your life. So these were really things that helped me to do that. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more personal development, productivity type of content just like this, then subscribe. And if you want to check that video out where I talked about that productivity system, where I explained that productivity system from A to Z, that video is going to be on right here or somewhere on the screen, and I'll see you in that video.